Okay, and we're back. Hold on here. Just make sure. I got a phone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah, I speak to the island every day, man. I speak to Jamaica every day, tapped into the youth, you know, who really want to get it. And the thing is this, you can't show a lot of them money because they want to spend it. And that right there is, you know, that unfortunately, that right there is something that they can do. But the thing is, you can't necessarily do it and be a part of this program. Okay? What this program is, well, ultimately, what we're dealing with is so we deal with major alpha strategies, right? That's what we're dealing with there. Major alpha strategies. And that's what we're dealing with, folks. And this is where, you know, we future-proof ourselves. Huh? This is where we future-proof ourselves. You do that by focusing on things in the future that are super important, you know, on the lines of we got ag tech, insurance, right? Web3, development, you know, social impact, I was gonna say these, but I don't even wanna, you know, but social impact is good. Okay, climate, climate prep, you know, preparing for climate preparation. You know, IP and copyright. Real estate. Bank culture. Security. You know, soft skills. Yeah, those 9. I'm sure there's more things I will think of. You know, marketing. You know, so these are the things that are important. You know, in terms of when you're talking about major alpha strategies and in future-proofing yourselves, these are the areas that I, you know, work in and focus on. You know, ag tech, making sure that, you know, we have seeds, making sure that they're perfect for us, making sure that we have food security, making sure that we're growing food in the right way. If we need to deal with vertical farming, we need to deal with vertical farming. If we need to deal with micro farms, we need to deal with micro farms. If we need to build the agripreneur program, that is definitely what we build. Okay? Insurance. How are we going to insure these businesses? Create group insurance. Create a mutual. Allow for some of our funds from the things that we do to go back so that we can reinsure ourselves. So if hurricanes come through, if war comes through, if famine comes through, if flood comes through, these type of things come through, fire and whatnot. Like a lot of times people don't have death, you know, another COVID pandemic, that we have enough in the, as a reinsurer or as an insurer, we are able to insure ourselves. That way we're keeping our culture prepared and protected from those economic hitmen. How do you think these people operate? They come in and propose problems and solutions and give us loans that we ultimately end up using the wrong way. We ultimately end up using the wrong way. All right? And then we have to go to them for money. You know, insurance is also like banking. You know, believe it or not. So I'd say treasury. So these two type of things are kind of like the same. You know, these things to me are on like the same level. Insurance and treasury. Who's going to make the value and who's going to insure the value? Right? That's important. We need our own piece of that. We need our own understanding what that is and how a family of 4, a family of 8 that actually has enough funds to be able to insure themselves and become their own treasury, and i.e. their own bank. That's really important, very important. These are all major alpha strategies, how we future-proof ourselves. Okay? Next, Web3 development. Web3, we're just going to embody, we're going to encapsulate everything under the Web3 moniker. We're calling Web3, it's blockchain technology, it's NFT technology, it's cryptocurrency technology, it's the metaverse technology, okay? This is the invention of the next version of the internet. It is the read, write, and own your own data, yourself, you know, so we need to make sure that we're not looking at it as something that we cannot learn. It's very important for us. 2, the type of things that we're going to take and we're going to build and develop in are focused on education in this space for sure. We need way more people. We need way more people in this that go through our plight than currently. Okay? That's super important. Super important. No joke. No joke. I mean, we saw everything that's going on. But if you're seeing this, this is definitely after the FTX implosion. Okay? If you're seeing this, this is definitely after November 7th, 2022. Right now it's what? November 14th, 2022. Okay? So yeah, that's what this is. Because we see that when we allow for people that we claim are smart, because they go to some of these schools that have put out most of the people that have created an environment that doesn't necessarily benefit us. We need to put our people in place that come from where we come from, that don't hold up the this false prophet idea of, oh, you went to Harvard, so you're better than me. Oh, you went to MIT. Look, y'all. The big families that look to take over the world or have been running the world up to this point, they go to these schools. They send their kids to these schools, and they come in and reinforce the doctrine that we are trying to get away from. They reinforce the doctrine that we are trying to get away from. And they have currently been infiltrating the Web3 development and the Web3 space, as well as the others as well, not just there, but mostly there. And so if right now you're listening to this, FTX has already imploded. And when you look at who was running FTX, which was the second largest exchange globally, it was a bunch of kids from the Harvards, the MITs, the Stanfords, you know, who were trying to create and recreate the current fractional banking system in blockchain, and it just doesn't work. And they hurt a lot of people. So we definitely want to focus on Web3 development and getting more kids in there, more of our people in there, so that way we can do things to solve our issues and use the technology to really, help people rather than hurt people. Which brings us to the next level, social impact. The question is this: what does social impact mean to you? What does it mean? You know, like, is it about Black Lives Matter? All lives matter, right? But is it about finding a catchy slogan and marching in the streets and collecting in a bunch of money and then not doing the things that you're supposed to do with it? Is that what it's about? Now, granted, I get it. You're running an organization and you need it, but you have to take care of the people. It's about social impact. It's about being equitable. It's about doing something that not only affects yourself, your pockets, but affects the environment and the people around you on a positive level. Here's an example. So my famous hat, you know, my dream hat, my freedom hat, my plant-based man, my agripreneur hat. You know, this is one of my prized possessions. Yeah, I know. All it is just a bunch of, it's a leaf woven. But this is one of my prized possessions because it represents my culture. It represents the impact that my culture has on utilizing the tools around itself. So now as I travel the world and I make really cool impressions and friends and I'm bringing something from somewhere to someplace else where people are just like, wow, how do I get that? How do I get involved? How can I buy one of your hats, man? Can you please sell it to me? And I'm like, well, look. So at first, I didn't want to sell it. Didn't want to sell it at all. I was like, nah, man, you're going to have to figure this out yourself, bro. But then I realized like, oh, okay, I can sell this hat. I can make a ton of money off of it. But it's not really about me making money off of this hat because at the end of the day, it's culturally relevant to islands. It's culturally relevant, right? So it's not really for me to go around and like make it my hat, even though it became my brand. So now it's about, okay, how do I sell this hat and make it benefit people on the islands where the hat comes from? So I said, okay, cool. I'll just sell it as an NFT, a digital version, so that you can have the hat. You obviously can't wear it because you can't wear a digital piece, at least as of this date. I haven't seen it yet, but you probably can. But nonetheless, you can't necessarily, for all practical purposes, let's just say this, you can't wear physically a digital item, okay? But you have its claim to its ownership. And there's levels of it. You can get one bespoke for you, make it an experience. Or you can just buy a basic one and you can just get it when you get to the island. It may fit you, it may be more generic, but the thing of the matter is that when you purchase it, its value or what you're doing is impacting the people on the island. You can get this and it impacts Jamaica because money goes back to them. Or you redeem it and you go to one of our hat makers on the island and they'll weave you a beautiful hat for yourself. And then do one, you can even get one made where you can actually take it home with you. So that's where now the information, so that right there is social impact. Right? That's me as someone going out who has reach, who's an influencer, who touch people, who educate people, who people come to and want to be like. And I'm like, okay, cool. You want to be down. These are one of the things you get to show that you're down. And buying it, you're impacting the island. That is just one version of social impact. And there's other people out there with way more versions that and can do way more awesome things. But that's just one thing. That's just one thing. Yeah, social impact. You know, which we all love because, you know, like, you realize, like, we're people of privilege. We're kids of privilege. I got a chance to be born in the U.S. I got a chance to know who my father was. I had the chance to be raised by his community. I had a chance. You know, so basically you realize when you have a chance, and no matter what anybody says, for some people, I was born in third base. Right? And for some of us here, you were born in third base. But after a while, you get to a point and you're like, man, isn't there more? Isn't there more for me to do? How can I help others? That's what my life has always been about. I've always felt privileged. But it's always like, how can I impact others the right way? Social impact. Okay. Another thing that falls from social impact is climate preparedness and readiness. What does that mean? We live on little islands, bro. My island's so small. It little. But it has a big heart and a big people. We're little. So anytime a wind blow, water rise, we get mashed up. So how do we prepare people for this? How do we prepare our shores for this? What does that look like? All right, maybe our beautiful Caribbean waters, we end up having a protective barrier that pops up. You know, big rocks, big pieces of aggregate gets thrown in the water to kind of break some of those tides, break some of those those surges of water that comes in and floods us. You know, alarms going off that really help cut the possibility of typhoon or tsunami. You know, listen, if a tsunami's coming, like, there's only but so many things you can do, right? But climate preparedness, climate readiness, you know, stop using fossil fuels. Get our islands off of using diesel, off of using natural gas. We can grow our own hemp and turn that into fuel and be fully sustainable. We can do that. It's just the mindset. You know, like when you hear about Jamaica, you know, you always are dealing with just the thought of reggae, weed, and, you know, I mean, look, all right, so when you think about Jamaica, you think about reggae, weed, and food. You know? When I say reggae, I include dancehall, you know, and really and truly we should be thinking about hip hop as well, but that's another thing. But reggae, weed, and food, right? Those are the things that we're known for. Running, you know, brand Jamaica is really big. So this right here is, but when you talk about climate and being prepared for it, so what happens when it hits the island? What happens after that? You know what I mean? Reinforcing some of these homes, make them storm-proof. Make sure that, listen, let me tell you something. Most of our houses have zinc sheet metal roofs on top. Okay? Most of them have that. So that gets flying in the wind. Listen, I remember this. Hurricane George or Hurricane Gilbert. Yo, I'm talking about people head cut off, severed off, because flying zinc and sheet metal getting whipped around 100+ miles an hour, full off. You know what I mean? Like, those type of things are dangerous. Very dangerous. So the ability to use this initiative to prepare people to just reinforce their homes, whether it be by windows, whether it be by securing the metal down, like, or using other kind of material, hempcrete, you know, things like that. Maybe we use bamboo more than we use zinc and sheet metal. You know, these type of things are very important. Hemp, these are the things that help climate. Stop using fossil fuels. Start using things like hemp. Those are things we can grow all day and put people to work for it. That is what we need to be doing. All right? So we think about that. No more gas. I know, we can do electric cars in Jamaica. Full on. You know, we have a partnership with China right now, so we can use a lot of those Chinese electric cars on the island, trade those out, and these things right here will help climate preparation. That's for sure. Okay. IP and copyright. Woo! You know what I love to say? Mint culture, IP and copyright. And licensing, IP, licensing, and copyright. Now, one of the things I like to say is that many things can come from strife. Okay? Not like I wish it on people, not like I wish it for you. But because of the strife, pressure, stress, hard life, hard living, because of this strife and stress, hard life, hard living, people have been forced to either find entertainment in certain ways, either find, food in certain ways. A lot of things come from this. So, you have entertainment, food, invention. They say necessity is the mother of all invention. And when that happens, because if you're somebody really born on third base, or with a silver or gold spoon in your mouth, you definitely don't know what strife is. Or your version of strife is something a bit different. Right? Let's say that. I'm not going to say nobody goes on, because it's all about your perception of what you're going through. But when it comes to us on the islands, we have a certain mindset. Us in the ghettos, we have a certain mindset because we don't necessarily have access. So that's why so many of us excel once we get access. But what we've known is, because we live on these little islands in the middle of the water, in the beautiful Caribbean Sea and the lower Atlantic, we are susceptible to interlopers who come to the island, get inspired, because remember, we are the ones under pressure, so we have to figure things out differently. They're the ones who aren't. So they come and take what we have and use it over wherever they live and learn to monetize it. And don't tell us. They don't tell us. They don't incorporate us. They don't use it for social impact. They don't use it for anything. So our IP is probably our most valuable tool. When it comes to IP, when it comes to your intellectual property, your licensing and copyright laws, all of these things have been taken from us, because you can have people who come to the island and wave all sorts of fun flags and fun opportunities to you, and you sign it over because you have not been educated in this. You don't know what the lawyers know. And Jamaica has a gang of lawyers. So copyright law, licensing law, intellectual property law. Like, all of this has to be known, and not at a lawyer's level, at a common person's level. So that way, when we're creating it, we know what our value is. Data. Data. Metadata. This is all what I mean when I say mint culture. When you hear the words mint culture from me, this is what we're talking about. Okay? All of this. All of this. all of this metadata, all of this data, all of this IP, all of this copyright, all of this licensing, all of these things fall within minting cultures, and you have to know the law. You have to know what this is at this state to get to the law, to then be able to say, I can mint culture. It's not just about making an NFT. It's just not about taking a digital picture. It's about knowing this. Knowing these things. Okay? Knowing this to be able to mint culture. Right? So this, you team up with these people. Right? You team up with these people, these Web3 development people, with these metadata, and this is how we mint culture. And by now it creates social impact. Let me tell you a story. Michael B. Jordan. And I love telling this story, really, because look, we could sit here and talk about how many times white people stole everything from us, how there's 50,000 inventions made by black people that nobody knows about, type of stuff. But at the end of the day, I like to talk about things that don't seem like it's theft or stealing, but I just want to show y'all how much people do it without even thinking, and how the US do it without thinking. So Michael B. Jordan is an A-list actor. Top quality, top-notch A-list actor. And he does what every A-list actor does. He hires, well, I don't know if his agent is black or what. I assume it's a Hollywood agent. He's A-list, so I assume his agent is of the Jewish persuasion, like a Hollywood Jew. And the thing is, they operate in systems, right? So if you are an A-list actor in Hollywood, there's a certain set of things that you necessarily have. One, box office hits. Two, a bag of cash. Three, high-powered agents, for sure, and publicists. And they normally get you a lot of endorsement deals. So the endorsement deals fall around, you get a car, right? Ford, Kia, Tesla, and you become a spokesperson for an automobile, a watch. You know, always have the watch. You know, you see Leo and George Clooney and these guys, you know, that type of stuff. I don't know, how's that? You know, suits, some places, hair products, skin products, you know, sneakers, shoes, you know, you name it. Some people have beer, some people have alcohol. You know, for instance, George Clooney recently had a tequila and he cashed out of Casamigos for about $1 billion. Okay? $1 billion. So it only makes sense, right, that Michael B. Jordan falls suit. Which makes sense. People getting money off alcohol. Great. I wouldn't necessarily look to like really get money off an alcohol You know, that's just me. I look at wine as something a little bit different, right? But something that is distilled like a spirit. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Don't really there's too much evilness and bad vibes for me when it comes to the ideas of spirits. Okay? I'm more of a wine guy. Right? So with that being said, Michael B. Jordan decides, I am going to make me a spirit. I am going to make me a rum. And I'm going to base that rum off of who has some of the best rum other than the Caribbean. Right? You know, Jamaica, Ray and Nephews, dope. Puerto Rico, Don Q, dope. Cuba, Bacardi, dope. You know, Barbados, Mount Gay, dope. You know, and he wanted to make a rum for Trinidad. And he wanted to call this rum Juve. Now, I don't know if you out there understand what Juve means and what it is in Trinidad, but I can tell you this, Google it, do your research. But when he did it, and this all goes back to IP, right? When he did it, he said that it was based off of Trinidad and Carnival and how it was his love. Oh my gosh, I want to do something cool, and they did it, and they called it Juve. But you know, in this day and age of anything, and especially him being an A-list actor, it obviously became public news. So Trinidad was like, wow, that's great. You know, how much do we get off of it? This is great. This is a great partnership. Like, let's rock. And the saddest thing about it was that in hindsight, I'm sure he would have not allowed it to go down this route. But because he called it Juve, Trinidad decided to say, okay, how much do we get from it? He and his team found offense to that, took offense to it. And ultimately, he rather changed the name than tip the culture. You get what I'm saying? You see what I mean? He rather change the name than tip the culture. Come on, man. You have an opportunity to have an island back you because you are Michael B. Jordan. You have a rum based on Trinidad and we can't get none? Why, you thought that you made the name Juve? And that's the problem, man, when you get these lawyers and when you deal with people who are not of your culture. I don't know where Michael B. Jordan is from, but I know that he's not from Trinidad. And I know that he's not from Jamaica. That's what I know. And at the end of the day, when you're teaming up with the enemy, they're not trying to impact the island. You miss an opportunity for social impact, which is what we're all about, right? So I can't even listen to you what you're on now, bro. You had an opportunity and you chose to change the name after you took our IP? Yeah, man, Nicki Minaj and everybody came at him heavy. But I was like, come on, bro. You're messing up. You're fucking up. So that right there is the reason why we need to mint culture. This is why we need to mint culture. Okay? We need to mint our metadata, our IP, and our copyright. We need to understand these laws so that we can mint culture, so that we can use the use of our culture for social impact by using these Web3 tools. Okay, so we need to have the sensibility of it first. Position it so that it can impact by using these futuristic tools. These tools that future-proof yourself. You know? Yeah, man, Michael B. Jordan, you missed an opportunity, bro. You know? And I mean, I don't know, man. seemed like a simple thing for me. Tip the culture. They weren't asking for that much. You know how many rums you would have sold? This is what happened when people think small. You know, your team wasn't thinking about us. They were just thinking about taking from the culture like they always have. You're a puppet. Matter of fact, you're a muppet. Anyhow. All right, so mint culture, right? This is how we future-proof ourselves. Remember, these are all major alpha strategies. These are the things that we talk about in major alpha strategies. And we break down these areas. All right? This is what we're going through. We have investments in all of these areas. And this is what we're going to focus on. All right? Now, real estate. Real estate. Real estate. That right there is an issue. There's a lot of land ownership, a lot of land ownership. What does that do for us? We don't know, because a lot of times people won't give us money to develop our land. And that's the point of being able to tap into our African diaspora, because we have the resources and dealing with community development. That's where we want to be. Community development with real estate. Whether it's commercial, whether it's residential, whether it's just raw land, whether it's agriculture, whether it's on the Caribbean islands or on the continent. We have tons of real estate. Tons. We have tons of farms. You know, so now this is where we're dealing with this ag tech. So ag tech is different than real estate. All right? So agriculture technology focuses on vertical farming, focuses on, you know, growing high quality food with way less water, right? Tracking it, keeping all the data about the seeds and whatnot, which is different from real estate. Real estate is an asset. This is where we deal with fractionalizing real estate. This is where we deal with using the real estate to create your own stuff, like a family bank you can create. There's a lot of landowners out there with mines, with water, with all sorts of assets and minerals out there that they may or may not want to extract. But how do we use this real estate for the betterment of not just the family, but of us as people? This is very important. And there's a lot of angles and a lot of minutia that comes with it. The real estate always appreciates. The building on top of it depreciates. We can fractionally own real estate. You know, there's things that's called squatters' rights that are on it. And you as a person may have a big piece of land, but you can't even subdivide it because on a portion of it, there are squatters that you can't get off. How do I subdivide around them, utilize it, and maybe be able to hire them to do stuff on the land? All of this type of stuff is important when it comes to real estate. How much real estate that you have in your family that maybe was stolen from you because you couldn't pay the taxes? All of these are things that you want to use to future-proof yourself. Because this thing is real. These are real. You may want to build a resort. You may want to use some of your value. You may want to liquidate a piece of it just to get you to a point where you can then develop. How do we develop a real estate business plan? I don't even have any vision. Who is out there that can help? You know, like, all of this is very important. Very super important. You know, real estate as one of the biggest wealth accumulators in the world. You know, we have them for farms. Like, there's a bunch of farmland sitting in the lower United States, but every island is farmland. Like the island of Dominica is a great island. with great soil. You know, volcanic rock. How do we maintain our real estate? You know, and take these things back from like the crown. Like, no, you guys do not own anything of us. No. They pay rent. They live in our minds rent free. That's the only reason. Nah, man, y'all don't own nothing. Give me that. Y'all ain't here. Nah, Jack. You and the governor that you appointed, gone. Move your blood clot, man. Move your blood clot. Move. This is our real estate because this is what the people have. How do we make this make sense? Fractional owning, fractional lending, putting all deeds and titles on blockchain, giving real land valuation. Stop the redlining. You know, stop these predatory practices that focus around real estate. You know, so this right here is a real thing. And you know what they say, you know, they're not making any more land. That's not so true, but let's just go with that. You know? Real estate. Super smart, super important, super important. All right. Culture security. That right there is a little more of your metadata and your IP and bringing that into a space. But culture security. First of all, you have to know your culture. You have to know your history. Getting with all of the elders. Real history. The elders. Right? Culture security. Who are the stewards of our culture? Whose culture are you perpetrating right now? Whose culture are you a part of right now? You don't even know. Who have you gotten your information from? Remember in school, they would tell us about the Gobi Desert. Like, why would I want to know about the Gobi Desert? Like, how does that help me? Am I learning about all these retards that don't make any sense to me? They don't. Cultural security. There's words that we use. There's ways that we use our words that mean something, that now are being co-opted by other weirdos, not from our culture, telling us that we have to lose them? Nah, man. No. Culture security is so important. This is how you don't get whitewashed and lost. So that way when reparations and your friggin' your birthright is knocking at your door, you don't look at it like, wait, hold up, is this Jehovah's Witness? You're running away from them. Nah, man. Culture security is so important. This right here is what the fight of Kyrie is going on with right now. And if you don't know what it is, depending on when you're seeing this, Kyrie is having an issue because he is trying to figure out his culture. He's trying to figure out his culture by reading, by looking at documentaries and sharing it with the people, because he has a platform of being an influencer. And he is trying to figure out his cultural identity. But if we don't have cultural security, we cannot figure out our cultural identity. Like, look, your identity is more than slave ship, Emancipation Proclamation, Great Depression, Jim Crow, civil rights, Martin Luther King, Jay-Z, Beyonce. Like, that's kind of what it is. If you talk to America, oh my bad, I'm sorry. Crack era. Don't forget that. We're way more than that, folks. We're way more than that. But if you don't know it, because what you see on the TV has been your culture, it's not going to tell you what you are. It's not going to tell you what you are. And you're not going to get your culture just from some Israelites on the corner. Not at all. Not at all. God bless the brothers, but I mean, I don't need people just yelling at me and yelling at other people. And I get it. We're from the warrior class, and you're upset and you're frustrated. But message, optics, like these things are important. You know? So cultural security. Because once we secure it, then we're able to pass it on. And we're able to document it. And nobody can get us off our square because I know exactly what I am. You know, it wasn't like I was sitting around. It wasn't like every day I sit around with a bunch of rastas or anything. But I know that my father was and is a great man. And he's given me a lot to fall onto that gives me my cultural identity. I use that to move through the world and try to figure out who I am. And then come back and figure out from the elders to create what my cultural identity is and what I'm passing on. You know, so this is very important. So we need culture security because it's always uniquely different for you in your family. Even if we're a part of the same, you know, gene pool, it's still different for you and your family. All right? Yeah, man. Cultural security, super important. All right. Next, soft skills. Woo-wee! Soft skills. I like to call them the 4 W's. These things are what this embodies soft skills for me. Now, we can definitely, but these are the things that future-proof ourselves. So I got the 4 W's. So my 4 W's are women, wine, weed, and well-being. Yeah. Women. I don't care what you say, women are the future. If you don't have some dope women on your team, if you are not supporting women, if you are not divine in your femininity, if you're not tapping into your inner feminine goddess, men, women, I'm talking about all of y'all, it takes 2 of us to make you, so you're a divine masculine, divine feminine. It's a duality. It is a connection. So if you're not trying to be a part of that, then you are missing what the soft skills are all about, because it doesn't make you soft, makes you tap into your duality, tap into your balance. This goes out to you women as well that want to find yourself being too hard and can't find your level of softness. But your soft skills are great. And when I say women, I'm talking about these traditional ways to cooperate, care give, you know, empathy, gratitude, you know, listening. These things are very important. You know, for me, wine, it's just historically something that is extremely relevant in every great point in life. You know, for those of you who follow the scriptures, you know whether it be Yahshua, Jehovah, Jesus, but either which way, He turned water into wine. And it wasn't, maybe it wasn't just, it was to praise him, but it was definitely for celebration. He shows up at the wedding, makes fish and water to wine. Like, these things establish great times. You know, these things are punctuated with great events. Closing dinners, doing something great, sitting down, you know, connecting with a loved one. Like, this wine it's fermented grape juice. And guess what? This can also be kombucha if you want. Apple wine, brandy wine, so many things can make wine. So many things can make wine, and it's something that holds value. You know, that's the beauty about it. Once it's made for that year or that time, the scarcity is built in. So wine is a great way to accumulate value, to transfer, you know, love, to punctuate a great time, and, you know, like I said, it's almost religious. It's very religious, actually. Then, weed. Look, at the end of the day, how you feel about this needs to change. Needs to change. Can't take it too much because it might make you listless, might make you lazy. For those who haven't done anything, any of it, it's something that you probably can utilize in many different ways. You don't have to smoke it. You don't have to smoke it at all. You don't have to burn it. You don't have to use it as a combustible and, you know, food. You know, you can use it as oil. This is also a remedy and treatment for cancer. Weed. Have you ever heard of phoenix tears? Well, you always heard that weed cures cancer, right? It's a treatment for cancer. It doesn't cure cancer. We are all cancering. So we need to do the things that help our body rejuvenate itself. So when you, so I work with a lot of the indigenous, I speak with them. I connect to a lot of quality people who are in the spaces. But when we talk about the concentration of oil, and we're not talking about the things that you're getting at, what's the name of the place? Any of those dispensaries out there that's really golden and stuff. No, this is almost black. It's like this. When we talk about phoenix tears, when we talk about the type of cannabis that can treat your cancer or your illness or just help your body rejuvenate itself. This is the type, you know, we say phoenix tears. We say phoenix tears. Phoenix tears is the type of cannabis oil that is like tar. We're talking about those that really, at the end of the day, hold on. Okay, phoenix tears, the type of things that when you take it, it's like this, right? And when you consume it, this puts you in almost like a coma state. Like now your body heals itself when it sleeps. So this is on the level, or rather this is on the level of putting you in a weed coma. Pretty much all you do is sleep, drink water, pure water, vegan food, and the body heals itself. the body heals itself. And it's like 3 months of it. So definitely is something that is a very strong treatment, you know, and just like everything, you don't want to wait till they get to the point where you need 90 days straight of this, but it's something that, you know, you can do through the weekends, you know, and use it as preventative. But definitely weed is not what they said it was. It's this includes hemp as well, you know, and there's about 50,000 uses. There's like 50,000 uses for hemp and weed, you know, including fuel. Including hemp fuel. All right? So that's weed. And then when we come to the idea of well-being, that right there is mind, body, soul, all in alignment, and bank account. Okay, so none of this is about not making money, folks. All right, so your mind, your body, and your soul. And your bank account. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Feels like I'm saying make it rain. But, and your bank account, like your pockets are super fat. Okay? And you got Bitcoin there too. So, well-being. It's the 4 pillars. Mind, body, soul, bank account. All in alignment. That's what the soft skills focus on. That you have that balance. You know? But first, you already know, women. That's number 1. Women, wine, weed, and well-being. So that right there is a whole nother class by itself, but it's something that you want to focus on. And this is what we'll talk about. All right? And last is marketing. Okay? Marketing, funnels. That's super important. Super important. Because all of these are businesses and business ideas, but the thing is, you need to find the people. And if you don't know how to get the people that you need, see, marketing isn't like just billboards and stuff. Even though billboards are great, there's more to it. It's about figuring out who is your ideal client. Like, whose problem are you trying to solve? That's really what it's about. What does your perfect client go through? What is their issue that you are coming to their help with and to their aid with? Like, what is it? You know? Like, is it they don't know how to talk to women? They don't know how to get proper clients? You know? It's really a very kind of important thing to know where you stand with this. You know, it's about where you stand with this. It's super important. It's super important. Marketing. You know, you master this, you become a rainmaker. Everybody needs you. You don't get to charge for a business anymore. You get to ask for equity in a business. No doubt, because if you can find the ideal client and keep them coming to you, and keep them coming to that guy, then you are indispensable. You are super indispensable. And there's a difference between marketing and selling. You know, difference between marketing and selling. Selling is transactional. Marketing is really trying to get your client's mindset, get your avatar, get your perfect person's mindset, and helping them solve their problems, aiding them through life. It's more of a consultative position, more than it is just looking for a transaction and a sale. You're giving them consistent value. You need them just as much as they need you. We row in the same way. Because if I'm going to put myself into your shoes and try to help you figure out your issue, right there, that right there is, you know, it is a dual role. It's an empathetic role. It's not just, you know, reading a couple of books and figuring out what they want, you know. And how do you market? You know, are you using automated strategies? Are you using evergreen content? You know, like me wearing this hat all the time is marketing. Yo, because when people see my hat, they know, oh shit, Major's here. It's already going to be a good time. We know it's going to be a good time. We know he already got some good information for us. You know he's trying to help. Oh, let's get Major on, because I feel so much better when Major's around. And that's all because of the hat. That's all because of my brand. That's all because of me. So a lot of times, it's not really about you finding your ideal avatar. A lot of times this is about you knowing yourself, because your ideal client should be you 5 years, 10 years before. You're solving their problems. So this is what the idea of future-proofing yourself is, and having these major alpha strategies. Right? Because when you're future-proofing yourself, you know that you want to be here for a while. You're not going to do the things that are going to make you leave this earth too soon. You get what I'm saying? So marketing always starts off with that big capture list. And if you really want some numbers, look, so marketing focuses on connecting with possible clients, right? And where do you get your clients from? Whether it be text, SMS, or is it email, right? Both of these things. Either which way, for every client you have on that list, potential clients you have on that list, it should make you $1 per month. Okay, so if you have 1,000 person email list, then everybody on that email list should equate for $1 per month, right? So you should be making $1,000 a month off of that email list. The more the number, the more you should be able to make, right? And I think that's important. And then, you know, you have your penetration. You know, let's say you have 10% of your email list is people that you really know and you really deal with and that really want what you want. You know, so, you know, of that 1,000, you have 100. So it's $100 a month it's making you. All right, cool. Minimum. Not to say that it can't make you $5,000 or $1,000 a month, but the thing is minimum. So the goal is to get a really big list and talk to them. Not sell to them. Talk to them. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them who you are. Not sell to them. Talk to them. Ask them what's their problems. Share. Be genuine. Really care. That's not everyone. And I'm okay with that. But for those who really get what this marketing is, you, my friends, are indispensable. Okay? So let's go over all of this again. So major alpha strategies and how we future-proof ourselves. We focus on ag tech, insurance, Web3 development, social impact, climate preparation, IP, copyright laws and data, okay? Real estate, culture security, soft skills, the 4 W's, and marketing. That is what you do to future-proof yourself. That is what we focus on. That is a real alpha strategy. A major alpha strategy. Not just, oh, okay, I got a little something going on and popping. Nah, man. This is really what it's all about. Really what it's all about. So when you hear me say major alpha strategies and I'm giving you a playbook, that right there is just so we can talk about the Web3 action. But all of this other stuff, that's what you get when you really get down with the get down. All right?